How's it going, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Draft to the Future. I'm Matt, and the only reason I talk in the beginning is because Ryan's doing all the social media work. Today, we are continuing our series in our top 10 prospects. And today's really, it's like when you're eating a meal and you got to eat your vegetables, but you really don't want to. And I'm sorry, man. Neither one of us is digging this running back class. So we each got 10 guys. But it's only because of a self-imposed rule to name 10 guys. If you guys have some running backs you really want to pound the table for, like, let us know in the comments. But look, running back is actually my favorite position in football, and I'm just not feeling it this year. Ryan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's one of those classes where you and I believe have the same top four. And then outside of that, it's a bunch of guys where it's like, is there a thing they do you like? um, so yeah, it's not nothing to write home about, but there's going to be guys that are drafted, but I would venture to say this will be low numbers. Tons of UDFA guys that'll probably get shots on teams, but yeah, it's not great. So let's go ahead and get right into it. All right. So obviously, our number one is Jeremiah Love. That's consistent across the board. He's the only guy that should be going in round one. I mean, honestly, he has everything that you want in a running back. He's got speed, he's got good hands, he's got blocking ability, he's got elusiveness. He breaks tackles and has good contact balance. And then production is, 35 rushing touchdowns over the last 2 years, which is kind of crazy. So he's a great all around guy. I don't know that I would have him above. Why is my brain blanking? Your guy from last year?
Inty?
Yeah, I don't know that I would have him above Genty. But what are your thoughts on Jeremiah Love?
So when people talk about, and this is kind of, who Jeremiah Love kind of reminds me of, and it's a compliment but a warning. I remember. Do you remember watching Reggie Bush at USC?
Yeah.
I thought Reggie Bush was going to come to the NFL and just redefine the NFL.
Yep.
And hey, he got a ring. He had a pretty solid career, but Barry Sanders, he was not. The league, he did not change. Which I feel more results of unfair expectations than it really was any fault of his. Now, I don't have the breakdown between the two of them in terms of their build and whatnot. I would think that Jeremiah Love is a much stouter guy.
Yeah, he's bigger.
And he still has elite speed. I don't know if he's as fast, but the real talking point when you think about Jeremiah Love, because there's no. I took G&T last year. Do you remember what I said when I took G&T and why?
You know he's going to start?
Yes. And so if you're drafting a shadow team, taking Jeremiah Love makes a lot of sense because you know he's going to start and he might be special. And if you're going to take a guy you know is going to start, you know is going to be special, then yeah, you got to take him. But that's shadow team logic. I believe that you truly do draft the best player available regardless of position. But when I do my boards, because I was talking to you this morning about my board, and there's a difference in my opinion between the grade I give a player and the ranking I give a player. Yep. Because I'm sorry, there is no running back in the NFL who moves the needle on a team that isn't already great. And everyone's going to jump on me and be like, look what Saquon did for the Eagles. No, look what the Eagles did with Saquon.
Yeah.
You put a Hall of Fame running back on a Super Bowl caliber team, you have a juggernaut. But that same team was there last year, and you make one lineman change and it breaks. Running back is so dependent. The only position in the NFL more dependent on the team than a running back is the quarterback. And it's weird because they're both given expectations that are unfair. So
Yeah.
this is not me saying Jeremiah Love isn't amazing. This is me saying drafting a running back in round 1, even Jeremiah Love, is bad business. Now, who should take him? The Rams, the Broncos, the Niners, like the Patriots, Super Bowl caliber teams with Super Bowl caliber lines and Super Bowl caliber defenses. Those guys. So some people will say the Redskins because they were in the NFC title game just 1 year ago. And there's some reasonability to that. But if you don't genuinely think, this is the rule for me, if you don't literally think you're one running back away from a Super Bowl, don't take him. Now, do I blame the Raiders for taking Ginty? Well, again, if you're saying I'm taking the best guy on the board, you make a kind of sense, and I typically want to agree with you. But then if you're going to do that, if you're going to draft Ginty last year, or if you're going to draft Love this year, then you have to have a plan and a vision, and you have to understand that no running back is good enough in and of himself to move your team. Like, I don't know what the data is. Somewhere out there, someone can Google what the win share of the running back position is, but it can't be that good. It's the second lowest paid position in football. That I know to be true. So yeah, I love Jeremiah Love. I think he's a great running back. I'm the word generational gets thrown around way too much. The last generational running back to be drafted was what? Who came out last? Peterson or Henry?
Henry.
Henry was the and no one else has been drafted who was generational.
Did he go round 2?
You know, Henry did go round 2.
Yeah.
And you can argue Saquon is generational, and I don't know, is Saquon generational? I mean, it's 2,000-yard back, so I'm willing to.
I think he's generational now that he's on the Eagles.
So, and here's what's important. You cannot say someone is generational when another guy who was already labeled then you don't know what the meaning of the word generational is. You can't be generational 6 years after another guy who's still playing. That's not what that word means.
Yep.
So I don't want to throw that around, but do I think he's going to be great? Do I think he could challenge? Yeah, like he's got all the talent in the world, but let's slow down. We throw that word out way too much.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm coming out hot today, Ryan.
Yeah, I agree with your points about like who should be drafting him. Like I was of the opinion, talking with some Bengals fans, that if the Bengals nailed free agency and loaded up on the defense, that our offense is so loaded that it could be the piece that pushes us over the top. But they didn't really, they still have major holes on defense. And so, like, they shouldn't consider him. He will go top 10, almost certainly.
Just not the Rams, guys. That would be a nightmare scenario, and everyone take this clip and then use it against me. Yes, if Jeremiah Love goes to the Rams, it will be magical. I just don't want that world to happen.
Yeah,
but that says more about the team.
Top 10. I think he's going top 10.
Yeah, but I think they'll trade up. Like the Rams see draft capital as an investment, and what do they need next year for? Like they're winning a Super Bowl this year, and if they don't win a Super Bowl this year, like it's already done. Like
they're losing. They're losing to the Bengals this year, actually. Revenge game. But let's get into Mike Washington. So he's you and I have Washington and Price flipped. So I'll talk about Washington. You talk about Price. Mike Washington Jr. He's a great combination of size and speed. His combine performance was great. You loved seeing the emotion when he hit the numbers that he was trying to hit. So that was really awesome. One thing that I like about him on his film, he starts and stops well. And that's like when you're running straight, like you have to stop on a dime. But the problem that he has a little bit is that he doesn't have great lateral quickness. So like he can stop and get going real quick, but that side to side quick movement he does not have as great. He's definitely a bruiser, but he needs help with his technique in blocking. So he's definitely a guy that will go in there, throw some hits and blocks, but he doesn't, actually hold the blocks well. Doesn't maintain them, and he's got a high motor. I believe he's got a little bit of a fumbling problem. Uh, so that's I would assume that's probably why Matt's a little lower on him. But overall, I think in this class, I think he's got a really high ceiling, and I don't think he was on a very good team. And so this is a guy that I think can take that next step at the next level.
So the interesting thing with Price and Mike Washington is the only difference is what do you like in an athletic profile? Price is shorter and skinnier. Those do not typically bode well. They're not deal breakers, but Price is there. Washington is impressively large and impressively fast for that speed. If you can design a running back in the lab, you get Love in Washington, so that makes a lot of sense. And to be fair, like they both had 3 fumbles. The elusiveness grade on Price is a little higher. For me, the difference is in the kick return production.
Yeah, Washington has 10 fumbles in his career, though.
Oh yeah. So if I draft Price and he can't really cut it at running back, I still have something to show for it. Like he's going to be a good kick returner. If Mike Washington washes out, then it's just a pure bust, and you have nothing to fall back on. And I'm not. People. So here again, what are your expectations? No one is drafting Price, and I think people looking at him in round 1, like the people talking about him going round 1 are talking about him being a complimentary back. Price has already shown he's a great number 2 with huge upside. He's a breakaway change of pace guy, and that's wonderful. So they're going to draft him to be that. Like, the teams that already have a 6 foot 220 guy, they're going to bring in Price to be that complimentary, breakaway guy. And that's what he is. And that's what you expect him to be. Someone is going to draft Mike Washington and expect him to be the bell cow. And he could be. Again, there's lots of evidence to support that ability, but they're looking at Mike Washington's athleticism and trying to mentally pace Jeremiah Love's production. And that's where I get really cool on him really fast, because his numbers aren't terrible, but
yeah,
we're on different planets in terms of production, in what Washington offers versus, what Love has. So to me, the distinction was, I think Jadarian Price has a role and teams know it. And I'm lower on Washington because I think people think he's a every down back. And while I think he could be, I don't know that he is. So I can't go as high as 2.
Yeah. And to be clear, so like for me, I have Jadarian Price at I think 91 overall on my board. And that gives you, and I have Mike Washington is outside my top 50. So that's where this running back class is for me. Like I have one guy in my top 50, and that's Jeremiah Love.
Yeah, it's Jeremiah Love. And then I'll see you in round 3.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. It's like Jeremiah Love and then Mike Washington through Eli Heidenreich are grouped together for how I value them. And then it's just chucking, darts at a board to see which one hits. But Jadarian Price for me, if you tell me in a few years that Jadarian Price is the better running back, I would not be surprised.
Really?
I think he could have a great ceiling depending on what team he gets to. But yeah, so Kaytron Allen is another guy that was in a dual backfield, getting a lot of shared snaps. He is a very similar running back in Mike Washington in terms of his skill set, but he is a little bit older. I believe he's over 24 already. And so he's definitely a lot older. He's got a ton of tread on the tires, which is a little scary in the running back world. And I don't think he's the greatest athlete. And he honestly, he wasn't the primary back most of the time in his career in Penn State. Now I do think he has potentially better shot at being better at the next level than the guy that he was behind, and Nick Singleton. But that's where Katron Allen is for me. Very similar, like I said, he's got good size speed combo. Not necessarily the best quickness, but he's got some good speed. He's just not going to run away from people. And he seems like a pretty high motor guy. Katron Allen, I have him somewhere in like the 70s, I think. A guy I would target in round 3.
So Katron Allen, believe it or not, I ranked them the way I ranked them, and my reasoning, my reasoning wasn't. I would be very happy if I got Katron Allen in round 4 in our shadow draft. I'd be like, hey, I got another starting running back, and no one knows it yet. But I only have him for one contract, which is enough for me. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
Like I'll take one contract out of a running back. Because how many teams give their running backs multiple contracts anyway? So Jadarian Price is going to have a longer career and probably like more yards. But I think if you go year for year, I think it is one of those things where like Allen has more yards, Allen has more touchdowns, and then Allen taps out. And then Price is like, yeah, but I'm still chugging along 800 yards, 6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, I can see that. You want to talk about Katron Allen's teammate since you have him there as your number 5?
So Nicholas Singleton, there's some research out there. 5-star high school running backs tend to have good NFL careers. And that combined with Singleton's athletic profile means he has to be on this list. He's got no actual business being on this list other than it's just kind of how it goes. So you'll have a game, and because there were a couple Penn State guys I was watching throughout the year, I would say Nicholas Singleton was an utter disappointment this year.
Yeah.
But you look at the year before and you see what people liked. You see what the talent level is, and maybe Penn State just kind of went sour the same way Clemson did. And maybe this is the most interesting thing for Clemson and Penn State guys. Maybe it was the coaching. Maybe it was the coaching and the plan, and the teams just weren't put in the right position. And all of these guys are going to NFL coaches, and a bad NFL coach is at least as good as an average college football coach.
Right.
And maybe fans of Clemson like Tebow's more than average. Is he? You had two people who played the position of quarterback great, back to back, and then what? Give me Deshaun Watson and Sunshine in on any team in college, and I mean, who doesn't win with them?
Yeah.
So you look at what Singleton can do. His burst is impressive. His lateral quickness is impressive, but everything about what you're projecting for him is a projection based on what his known athletic giftedness is. And you're like, man, I hope it just breeds true. But one of the studies I plan on doing in the near future is production versus athleticism. I'm still ideating how I'm going to conduct that research and then present my findings.
Yeah.
But my hypothesis is athleticism wins out in the NFL. So you can have a relatively poor season and a poor career in college, and if you have the right athletic tools, you're still going to do well in the NFL.
Yeah. And it might be position based too, but we'll see.
Yeah. So that's literally why he's on my list, and I put him at 5 because, again, if I'm taking wild cards, if I'm taking flyers, I would flip. Honestly, based on what I think of Heidenreich, he would literally be like my number 2 guy. He would be number 2 on my list, but he's got a 7th round grade right now. But I don't understand how people are talking about Jeremiah Love because he's a receiver out of the backfield. He's a great running back and he's got great bursts. And I'm like, it's the same picture, guys.
Yep.
I
For me, the issue with Nick Singleton that I had is I just couldn't get past what he looked like this year. He looked like a shell of himself. He couldn't break tackles at all. And one thing that I noticed when watching him is if the gap isn't clear, like if the gap doesn't show itself pretty quickly, and the play's over. Like he's gonna end up getting hesitant and getting knocked down. He doesn't. I don't think he has great.
He can't see the hole, can he?
Yeah, I don't think he has great vision. So that was my problem with him. But you're definitely right that the skill set could work out great in the next level. But you started talking about Eli Heidenreich, and he is one of my favorite players in this draft. And it's probably a little bit of bias with us being military guys. He is a Swiss Navy knife. Yeah. He might end up being a better slot at the next level. Who knows? Depending on what team uses him, but he's definitely going to be catching the passes out of the backfield quite a bit. He's probably going to be lined up in the slot quite a bit. But he also has really great downhill running ability. And he's got insane ball security. I can imagine there's pretty severe punishments in the in the service academies for fumbling. So, and he's also a willing and able blocker. If you, in terms of his ability to catch the ball, you see his adjustment to the ball while moving down the field. It's better than most wide receivers. So that's where I could see him ending up being somebody's like Julian Edelman type player at the next level. I personally absolutely love him and am going to be a fan of his no matter what, unless he goes to AFC North and not the Bengals. But yeah, I think he's going to be a star at the next level. I think he will go higher than that 7th round. I think he's probably closer to a 5th round guy in the league. I think that's where he'll probably go. But I think he's going to play at the next level for a while.
A lot like the running back class we're talking about. It's 1st round, and then I don't know, take who you like. Then when people talk about when people say this is a weak class overall, and the running back is a bad example, is there were 2 or 3 guys you're like, I know he's a dude. I know he's a dude. And then everyone else has huge question marks.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
Noah Short?
Sure.
So Noah Short's an Army guy, and I'm new to the Noah Short fan base. But we're because this might be the first time you're hearing his name. Kind of similar build to Eli Heidenreich. 6 yards per attempt, 3 yards after contact per attempt, 3.13 to be exact, 73.2 elusiveness grade. He's got a 4.43. So he and Heidenreich are really, really similar in athletic profile and in terms of build. And so the interesting, the interesting side of it, and to me, what makes the separation is Heidenreich is far his production score is a little bit higher, but even then, for my grading system, they're not light years apart. So Noah Short has a lot of the same tools, and if you don't get Heidenreich, I'd be like, I know Short's not too far away. He's not that different.
Yeah, I didn't really know Noah Short at all until you added him to his list. And I looked at his data and then watched a little bit of his film, I watched a little bit of his highlights. Yeah. In this case. But I put Timu Eli Heidenreich. It might look the same. But is it going to be the same? We don't know. It's a shot in the dark. But yeah, I can see the upside there. So I'll talk about the other Noah on our list, which is Noah Whittington out of Oregon. So he is a short and stout type guy. He's a solid blocker who does not fumble. He's got really good lateral quickness and patience and vision. He's one of those guys, because he's shorter, he likes to hide behind his blockers. So that's an advantage for him. He's often hiding behind those guys, and it's hard for the defense to see exactly where he's at. The downside for him, he's not really a breakaway guy. Like, those initial steps are going to be good, but people are probably going to catch him. But did you watch him at all?
Again, because I'm not really a Big Ten guy, but I ended up watching a lot of Big Ten because I was watching Mendoza. And even my own research says the high tempo running back is meaningless, but dude's 5'8", man.
Yep.
I can't. Now he's 5'8", 203.
Yeah, that's right. He's a little meatball, you know.
He's tiny, but he is not small.
Yeah, short. And
I just, I can't lie. Like, I look at him and I go, I'm having a lot of conversations about guys who look special in college because you're playing a bunch of people who are going to work at Taco Bell next year.
Yeah.
And yes, the speed is obvious. Like, he's there pulling away, but what did he do against Indiana? Nothing. What did he do against Ohio State? Nothing. Or Penn State? Nothing. Like even when he played people who were tough but not elite, he vanished real quick, and that's kind of what killed him for me on my, like, I don't have him on my board.
Okay. Yeah, and then so to catch up with you, since you already did your number 7, we'll talk about Curtis Allen.
Him I know.
Huh?
Him I know about.
Yeah, Curtis Allen, also known as D2 Derrick Henry. I mean, you can go ahead and clip this one. This guy has a shot to be like insane at the next level. He's probably the most boomer bust guy of this class, because he was in D2, so the competition level wasn't great. He has sat behind other starters for a couple years, so he had some time to like really kind of learn the game a little bit. And this year he broke out for 2,409 yards and 30 touchdowns, which is just absurd. I put a note here that he looks offended when you try to tackle him, because, man, he is going to run over top of you and just punish you. And that's why he's D2 Derrick Henry. That's why they call him that. He also is a solid blocker. He's one of those guys that he may not be the fastest guy ever, but don't let him get rolling. It's just like, that's why, again, Derrick Henry, when he gets going, good luck stopping him. And that's exactly what Curtis Allen is. I believe they have an HBCU combine coming up next week, if I'm not mistaken, at 28th through 30th. So it's actually this weekend through Monday, I believe. So it'll be interesting. I think he'll get a lot more notice after that. But again, in a weak running back class, this is a guy you take a swing on. It'll probably be day 3 that he goes. But Curtis Allen is a guy I could see us being like, well, where did he come from? Kind of like Isaiah Pacheco a few years ago. People were like, where did he come from? That could be this guy.
Yeah, so for me, when I look at Curtis Allen, like, what was interesting was there are people who are talking about him because of what he's been able to accomplish. And oh, that's what's going on. So you look at what he's been able to kind of produce, and it can be pretty special, but you got to get over that. You got to get over that D2 stigma. I root for him because I think it's really unfair that your HBCUs and your D2 guys aren't getting the respect that they deserve or the opportunity, and
Yeah.
it's really just bias. I mean, if a guy has good size, good speed, good athleticism, why are we talking about, you know, Mike Washington? And he should be talked about, like he should be. But why him? Because of his athletic giftedness, but then ignore Curtis Allen because he's an HBCU guy with this with not equal athletic impressiveness, but like it's still pretty special.
Yeah. All right, you want to talk about Sam Scott?
So Sam Scott's a dude out of Wyoming. He's another guy I discovered very late in the game. When you look at Wyoming, 6'1", 213. So he's just a little shy of where I want my running backs at 215. I know I got Price at number 2 on my board. I just like him, okay? But he didn't have any fumbles. It doesn't look like he's like a breakaway guy. He's not gonna zoom away. He's at 4.49. When I look at what he does, he's relatively productive and relatively athletic. So he's relatively good no matter what draft you're looking at. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's something to be said for the running back. You're like, well, you're going to get me 3 to 4 yards a carry. You're going to hold on to the ball. You're going to be reliable. He's a great backup running back who you can put in that role. And the rest of the guys on my list are either clearly backup guys or guys who could really prove value because of where they're going to go in the draft. So that's what this whole list is for me, because I'm past number 3 on my list, so I don't really feel comfortable about it. But you look at Sam Scott and you're like, he's just kind of plugging along. He's just kind of doing what he needs to be doing. And you can do a lot with a running back is going to get you positive yards when you hand him the ball.
Yeah. I didn't really know him at all until you put him on the list. So I don't really have a ton on it. Thing that worries me about him, at least from when I looked at his profile a little bit, is that, he's never really hit a ton of yards, and he also doesn't really get much receiving looks. So that worries me about him getting a shot at the next level. But I can see where you're going with there. This is a mistake on my end. Kentrell Bullock was someone that I moved down my board. The actual number 8 player that I have here is Emmett Johnson out of Nebraska.
Oh, there's another athletic freak.
Yeah, so Emmett Johnson is another guy that I have there at number 8. So I apologize for not updating my list. But that's what I have in my notes here to talk about. So Emmett Johnson, he forces missed tackles like crazy, runs with a really low center of gravity and good balance. He's one of those things, like, he's not necessarily the greatest athlete, but his film, when you watch him, looks like he is. He's twitchy. He's got great footwork. And I can't remember what his RAS was at the combine, but I don't believe it was great. So Emmett Johnson's a guy that I think has NFL upside. I'm not sure that he's a 3-down back, but again, in this draft, we're not calling many of these guys that. So
5.52 RAS.
Yeah. So I was a little shocked by that because I had only watched him play. With his footwork, you would think he'd be a much better athlete than he scored.
So I can't remember what game it was, but what I think happened is there was a game he had for Nebraska where he just owned that team. I can't remember what it was, but he had this game, and if you're going to draft a guy off one game, then draft a guy off this game. Where was it?
Was it Iowa where he put up 217?
Yes. He blew up Iowa, and it was week 1. It was the last week of the season. So he left this really good taste. I'm going to stop that metaphor right there. He left you with this fantastic impression. But to be fair, he had what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 100-yard games. But like he did walk on Cincinnati, which is a little impressive, and Maryland, which is actually impressive. But then like Northwestern, yawn, USC, yawn, UCLA, everybody did it. Penn State, now tell me that Zane Durant is good. Like, it he had this amazing game against Iowa. And if you're gonna have a good game, do it against Iowa. But man, you're banking. And again, like, where do you drive? If you're talking 5th round for anyone not named Katron Allen, Jadarian Price, or Jeremiah Love, then like, sure, why not? Take a shot.
Yep. Yeah, I don't remember where he ended up in my overall, but guy would take a swing on. But I think I ended up having him. Let's see, Emmett Johnson. He's in like the 140 range. So I mean that's a round 5 guy is where I have him. So you want to talk about Adam Randall?
So yes, Adam Randall. You got to come out when you're running back because you only got about 3,000 carries in your career. Yeah. So you don't want 1,000 carries in college. I get it. So he was a wide receiver, a highly recruited one, I think.
Yeah.
And he converted late into a running back. So he's like an inverted Debo.
Tyrone Tracy.
Huh?
He's Tyrone Tracy, the Giants guy.
So you have a guy who has some really interesting, athletic traits, and if they come together, you have a real steal. Because like again, like he's 6'3", 232. That's a big running back, and you do not want to tackle that guy. But he's so raw. Not a blazing fast guy, pretty solid bursts. But what he has is that little short area ability and just that strong body and frame where you're kind of tempted to see what you can get out of him. But Adam Randall is a guy who's generating a lot of interest where he's of all the lottery tickets on this board, I mean, maybe the only other lottery, like Mike Washington to me is the number 1 lottery ticket on this slide right here. Because if you hit, it's big. Adam Randall is a close second because if he puts it all together, you just don't see 6'2" dudes running 4.5, at offensive positions. Usually, if I were him, I would have tried to play outside linebacker, but he can make a name for himself running the football if he can develop it all, but you got to have a plan for him.
Yeah, he's in that tight grouping for me on day 3. So like I would definitely take a flyer on him on day 3. So the next guy I've got is another small school guy, Coleman Bennett out of Kennesaw State. Another older guy, but I think he's a really solid all-around player. He is also a great blocker, and then also he sheds tackles well. If you're trying to take him down by the legs, it's probably not going to happen. You gotta hit him in the chest and take him down. Because by the ankles, he's just going to push you down. But he also runs routes really well as another former wide receiver. And then he has also got the NFL bloodline. His dad was drafted in like 1994. So he's
was his dad Edgar Bennett?
I can't remember his dad's name off the top of my head. But he's got NFL bloodline. And so I think he is another guy that just, he was highly productive that I think can do well at the next level. And again, this is your RB3 to start out on your team. He's not going to be a starter by any means, but he can put some good snaps down. And then I'll talk about Terrion Stewart before you talk about possibly one of the most disappointing finishes to the year. But Terrion Stewart, this is a little bit of bias for me, I guess, because out of Bowling Green, formerly, now he's at Virginia Tech. He is an absolute bulldozer. He's literally like a human bowling ball. He didn't get as many snaps this year, but even then, he still broke 39 tackles in only 82 attempts, which is just awesome. He is a great blocker. He gets a lot of yards after contact. And I think he's pretty scheme versatile as well, which is important. Another older guy, stayed in the league stayed in for a little bit too long, but he's 5'9", 222. That is massive. I think the reason he ended up making my top 10 is because I believe he can be an immediate impact on a team as that goal line back that is going to get the ball into the end zone when you're in short yard situations. If you go and look at his like profile, he literally, like, in Bowling Green the last 2 years, he had 64 and 76 missed tackles forced. That's awesome. That is the type of guy that I want on my team, and I want to hand him the ball in the goal line.
So Jonah Coleman kind of right in there with Emmett. Not Emmett. Come on, we just talked about him.
Who? Singleton?
No, geez Louise, like my brain just died. Because he's not on. He's your number 8, but
Emmett Johnson.
Yeah, Emmett. So it is Emmett. Jonah Coleman had 5 touchdowns in week 2, and everyone was like, "Wow," and then did nothing the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And why I can forget Emmett's game and not Jonah Coleman's game, call me a hypocrite. Again, I had to give you 10 names and I wanted to stop at 3. Like I don't have a whole lot to work with here. I think Jonah Coleman is faster. Like, he did not do himself any favors in his athletic testing. But I think his athletic testing is not representative of what he does when there are humans chasing him. And I think you want to say that about every guy, but there are some people where I look at their data on their testing and I'm like, oh, that's disappointing. And I go back and look at the film, like, yeah, I was trying to ignore it. With Jonah Coleman, I saw those numbers and I'm like, no way. And I went back and I looked at film and I'm like, no way. Now you can argue, no, yeah, it's because everyone in, what is it, FIU? No, UC Davis. No, he is really that slow. He's just running away from UC Davis guys. And I'm like, well, okay, then you got me. But I want to bet that he's a better football player than he is an athletic tester. And while that didn't do him any favors, I don't think that the highlights and the footage that I've seen of him aligns to the athletic testing I'm seeing. And on a board where I have to come up with 7 players I don't really want to look for in the first place, I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. For me, it was, he started the season off crazy. Everyone was like, holy cow. Because he had, 7 touchdowns in the first 2 games. But then, he just fell off. He was very inefficient as a runner for the next 6 games or so. But then the last few games, he was 6 carries, or 5 carries, 4 carries, 9 carries, 12 carries. And that was 2 yards, 6 yards, 22 yards. So he was just rough to watch. And I don't know if there was injury stuff. I haven't really seen that, but he just fell off for me. Now he's still a guy that I would take in that same grouping right after this, my top 10. And he's going to go higher than I think either one of us would take him. But, I see the upside, but man, that it's hard to look past that. But let's look at where we were off on the consensus. So here's a breakdown of everything. The players we did not have at all were, let's see, we didn't have, neither one of us had Damon Claiborne.
Yeah, man, I don't see it. I tried to look at him, and I just I'll
Yeah.
take Black or McGowan before Claiborne.
Yeah, Claiborne for me, he drops, fumbles, he's a bad blocker. Like, so I understand some of the skill set maybe, but yeah, he's a late day 3 flyer at best for me. Thoughts on Kalen Black, who neither of us had?
So he's the Indiana dude, right?
Yeah, one of the Indiana dudes.
So he reminds me a lot like if you told me to remove a guy and replace him with another guy. I talked previously about where are we at? I talked previously about Sam Scott, like that steady, reliable, just chipping away kind of stuff. Now it's more impressive from Black because he did it in the Big Ten. His best skill and why I think he's on the consensus because I see it with him. That man knows how to find the hole. He is never going to get tackled for a loss.
Yeah.
The difference is the 5, 6, 15-yard guys that he got because everything was perfectly blocked. One, he's not like he needs to get put on a team that can create it. He's going to do like the Rams. He would do well. Any of the McVay Shanahan tree, like they're going to do all right.
Yeah, a couple questions from Rolf here. I would have Taj Brooks probably right around where Terrion Stewart is for me. Similar type guy, like he can be a good running back 3 that can be your goal line type guy, but maybe not an every down player. And then Miami's running back Hunter Jr. Now I haven't watched him as much as I would like to, but man, he in the college football playoff. He made a big name for himself. He would probably he'd probably be pushing to be my number 2, honestly, but he would definitely be in my top 4.
I think he was. I still would name him the MVP of the playoffs.
Yeah,
because like look, and again, I'm starting arguments over Bain and Messidor. Like, I'm sorry. Hunter Jr. is the reason Miami made it to the national championship.
Yeah, he was.
And it's not even
was
close.
So good in that, and so now the question will be: does he do that again next year? And I hope he does. But the last guy on the list, Seth McGowan. So for me, with him, he's a bad blocker, poor ball control. He's definitely got a good skill set. He was a formerly highly recruited guy. He's also pretty old. I did a little digging on him too, and he was dismissed from Oklahoma for felony larceny in 2020, and that's concerning from a character standpoint. And I know, hopefully he's moved past that. He seems to be doing well, at least for the team now, for Kentucky now. But yeah, I just don't have a really high grade on him at all. But it doesn't because his skill set doesn't show consistently on film either. So, he's got some good flashes, but not someone I would want to take. He's probably a UDFA for me.
So I got a quick question for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you and I agree, Jeremiah Love, first round. Do you and I agree that the next running back is a round 3 running back, and there are 3 of those?
I think that's where I feel they should go, but I don't think that's where they will go. I think there will be, I think there will be at least one. There'll be at least one taken in the second round, I think.
And then the rest I take on day 3. If if I just don't like any of the other guys, except again, Eli Heidenreich, I'm very high on. I really do believe in him.
Yeah.
I just don't like. Is a team going to give him a shot?
Yeah, and this is gonna be one of those drafts where you'll see a name go on like day 2 that you'll be like, who? And then you're gonna be like, why is that guy still there on day 3? Because this is gonna be a draft of like, hey, just grab the guy you like and draft him.
Another quick
Because
question, because you did the research.
yeah,
Tim, what does it say? Round 1 consensus is within 5,
mm-hmm.
and then round 2 is like 15.
Yep, 15 to 17.
And then round 3 is about 30.
Yep.
Do you predict this is the year that you got to throw that rule out the book? Like once you get in round 3, just take whoever you want because God knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, I would venture to say that the data is going to show that this is one of those years. Oh, come on. I was trying to pull up that actual data, but this is going to be one of those years that similar to, I think it was 2022, where there was a little bit more variance, especially as we got towards the later rounds. This is going to be one of those years that there's guys that people have round 7 grades on that go in round 4. And that's what, like, some people keep saying, like Oscar Delp's a name that I bring up, the tight end. He's currently in like the 140, 150 range consensus. Well, that means he could probably go 50 before, or 50. Like he could go round 3. He could go round 7. So I think there's going to be a lot of variances to this class. But what do you think? Do you feel like we should do some mocks or no?
Yeah, let's throw some mocks up.
All right. So yeah, what we're gonna do now? We're gonna switch this out and pull up the mock drafts here. We're gonna do our shadow team mocks. All right. So I'll start off and I am going to make some adjustments here. Why is this not letting me?
So while he's doing that, if the caliber of the draft from 23 and 24 would be a combined A or B, I give this draft a C or D. See, I feel like I get what you're saying, but it's really unfair because I think this is a very deep class in terms of you're going to get a lot of contributor special teams guys, and you're going to get a number of like you're going to get a Max Crosby out of this list. You're gonna get someone who's real dominant. It's just no one knows who that guy is. So if what you're saying is because of how hard it's going to be to find that guy, I get what you're saying. But if you're saying that this class doesn't have value, I don't know that I'm there. Because to me, I don't think you're going to find any top 10 lists that are the same.
Yeah.
And that's why they seem to lack depth, because once you get past the first 5 out of everyone's board, out of every position, then it's a real crapshoot. But I just don't know that there are going to be 1 or 2 guys in this class who went in round 4 or 5, and everyone's like, really? One guy's named Landon Robinson. He's going to go round 4 or 5, and everyone's going to look stupid. I believe in Cameron Stewart. And then just the interior guys, Keegan Trost. These are guys who are going to go late because people don't know, but they're not going to be immediate starters. But my goodness, there are some guys here who we're going to look back on this class and be, can you believe that guy went there? That's how I think we'll look back on this. But I agree with how we currently look at it and what you're saying.
Yeah. So, all right. So, I don't know why, but the PFF does not have the ability to change the draft order like they normally do. So I'm going to go with pick 3 and 10 because I have the Bengals. I do the Bengals pick, and then the reason I'm picking pick 3 is they have 1 pick in each round.
Yep.
And
he
I
has
normally
number 4 anyway.
I have number 4 anyway, so not going to make a big difference other than maybe round 1. But I'm going to just run through what I would do if the draft falls the way that they tell me. So right here, I'm taking Sonny Styles. The reason for that, I have him as number 1 overall on my board personally. And I have a desperate need for linebacker in my team. Most of my guys are UDFAs that may or may not get more playing time this year. So pretty simple. The question is, what do I do when I get to 10? And this would be really interesting because part of me wants to take offensive line in Monroe Freeling or Spencer Fano. Probably actually Monroe Freeling. But man, I'm barren at wide receiver. And my Ohio State bias would probably be pretty strong there. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just stick with that. I get a wide receiver because I know I'm going to focus on quarterback next year earlier in the draft. So I get a wide receiver in Carnell Tate. Now, round 2 is where it gets definitely a little more interesting. I'm probably going to be targeting some interior offensive line here, or maybe a corner. If I don't get Sonny Styles in round 1, Jacob Rodriguez will be a really real strong possible choice here. I also could go D'Angelo Pons because I just want that guy on my team. But I don't think I would take Emmanuel Pregnon because I believe he would be gone in this draft personally.
I hope not.
I think I'm going to actually go with
Caleb Lomu is a nice consolation prize.
Yeah, I feel like that's where I'm going to go.
Have to take Carnell Tate. Caleb Lomu is a really good fallback plan.
I think I'm going to take Caleb Lomu there because I need some offensive line. Until I get it, I'm going to keep drafting it. And then here, I'm going to go ahead and take Pons because I love him as a player, and I think he is going to. He would pretty much finish up my my corner room. All right, now we get into round 3, and this is where it gets interesting because I still need another linebacker, and Josiah Trotter is a guy I do like. I could take another wide receiver. I'm not really interested in corner anymore. Mike Washington's there. I could take him. I really like Grayson Halton. And if Grayson Halton is there in the 3rd round, I would have a hard time passing on him. But also Keelan Rutledge is another interior guy that I really like that could give me some versatility. I think I'm going to go with Keelan Rutledge. And then I'm going to go ahead and snag another wide receiver. The question is, which one do I want to take?
Those are pretty good options.
Yeah, I like most of these here.
Honestly.
You're higher on Branch.
I believe in Zachariah
Branch. Because I took Carnell Tate, I'm going to take a different style wide receiver, and I'm going to take Antonio Williams.
That guy's sneaky good.
Mm-hmm. All right, we get into round 4. Now here is where, if he's there, I'm taking him no matter what here. Cole Payton. So Rolf, that's my pick, not what I think the Bengals would do. So yeah, Carnell Tate to the Bengals, not quite, but to me in my shadow team, yes. So I'm taking Cole Payton. I think he goes day 2 personally, but if he's there at the beginning of day 3, I'm taking him. And then this is also where I take. I probably take honestly. Rolf, can you imagine if we had Carnell Tate? Yeah, it would be absurd. But here's where I take Landon Robinson. For me, most likely is at 110. And I honestly hope the Bengals do. If he's there, we need interior pass rush. If I would have taken Grayson Halton in round 3, I would not be taking Landon Robinson here for my team just because there's other positions that I need more. But I'm going to go ahead and take him there.
Now I think Landon gets drafted. I know what I think he should do. I might wait till round 6 because I think he goes round 6 in some planets. But that's just because I'm greedy and I'm trying to get the most value for him. But that's also because Ryan has been better than I've been performing. Ryan has a little more luxury time than I do.
Yeah, I can take a few more swings. So right here in round 5, I am taking Eli Raritan. He's got some risk with, I think, some injury history, being a little older, but I really think the world of him, and he's a Notre Dame tight end, so don't scout the helmet, but I'm gonna. So I'm taking him there. Now, the Bengals don't have, in the actual shadow draft, I would get a 5th-round pick for the Bengals, but they don't have him there. Let's see here. Be hard pass on Pat Coogan this late. Heidenreich would be hard to pass.
You in the face.
Huh?
Heidenreich staring you in the face.
Yeah, it'd be hard to pass on him. I could take your favorite player.
And round 5, yeah, in round 6. Okay, yeah, like round 6, I'm good.
And there's no safeties that I'm super high on. Leonard Styles and Cole Wisniewski are guys I like. Yeah, whatever. We're going to the all Navy draft. I'm taking Heidenreich. And then again, I'm gonna, because I need to keep taking offensive linemen until I get an offensive line. I'm taking Pat Coogan because I think the value is crazy there at this point. And then now I'm gonna snag a safety.
Oh, there's Fitzgerald just sitting there, man.
Yeah, Fitzgerald I think is the one that I'm leaning towards there. I would also be potentially interested in Leonard Styles, just because I know he's gonna stay on a roster just because of his speed. And so he might be able to eventually get a shot. But I'll take Bishop Fitzgerald because I think he is got some pretty high upside. And at this point in the draft, you're just snagging guys. Yeah. Harold Perkins, I think, goes higher, but whatever. I'm going to take him at this point.
Yeah.
I'm not really interested in another tight end. Don't really need another corner.
Oh yeah.
Because I took a corner early. You know what? I didn't get a run. Oh, I did get. I got Heidenreich. Just did. I could take another tight end and Taylon Green.
Eric Gentry is the flyer linebacker. Keegan Trost, man.
Yeah, okay.
Dude, I'm telling you, whatever. Keegan Trost might not start for 6 years, but then he's gonna be like an All-Pro for the next 5.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, man.
I think this is my last pick. So this is where, let me see if there's any wide receivers that I'm a big fan of. I like Benson, but not really. I think he might be gone, honestly. Let's see. Let's see if there's any edge players. Oh, okay. Well, if he's still there, I would take Michael Heldman.
Yeah.
All right. And so now let's take a quick look at how my draft would turn out and see how I would feel about it. And then we'll let you do yours, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Might take a little longer to do yours because you got to talk me through your positions. But all right. So honestly, my first 6 picks, because we talk about every draft, a good team an average team gets 2 to 3 starters, which means since we get 2 per round for the first 4 years, we have to get 4 to 6 starters, ideally 6. So if I'm looking at this, I'm confident Sonny Styles is starting. Pretty sure Caleb Lomu is going to start in year 1. Keelan Rutledge, not sure. Possible, but not sure. Interior offensive linemen sometimes take a little longer to get on the field. But Carnell Tate, he's starting. D'Angelo Pons is probably a team starting nickel in year one, but he's at least going to see the field. And Antonio Williams is probably fighting for a wide receiver 3 position, depending on where he goes. He's a guy, honestly, at pick 72 for the Bengals. If he's there, I would love for them to take him because I think he immediately
Immediate
becomes
upgrade over Yosevas.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if I look at the rest of my draft, Landon Robinson, I think is going to be a player that gets plenty of time. Coogan and Tross are guys that I'm looking to hopefully see as starters down the line and probably replace guys that haven't seen the field yet for me that I took in my first year. Bishop Fitzgerald, again, we talked about it. The guy I think could do well. Heldman is a guy that you and I are both very high on. That it's worth a flyer.
His athletic testing.
Yeah. And then Cole Payton again. I think he has some of the highest upside in this draft. Eli Raridan, if he stays healthy, could be a dominant tight end. Tight ends take some time to develop, anyways. And with me already having, Harold Fannin on my team, I can wait and see if he works out. Heidenreich is going to be like I said, a Swiss Navy knife, and he's going to get on the field, whatever team he goes to. And then Harold Perkins, where is he going to play? Who knows? But he is a player that's clearly got some talent. So, all right. So Matt's is going to be a little different. He's going to have that same pick 3, but then.
So am I allowed to take guys you took?
In this case, yeah, because right now we're saying what you would do in this scenario. So, just for everyone that's watching, Matt and I have an extra stipulation in ours that if I draft a player, Matt can't draft that player. So or vice versa. If Matt has in the real draft, Matt has pick 3, I have pick 4. So if he takes the guy I want at pick 3, pick 4, I have to do something different. And that could happen potentially with Sonny Styles, depending on what happens before him. So it makes things different and more challenging, but it makes us be able to stick to our guns and make sure that we're actually paying attention to the guys that we like to see how our evaluations go.
It also helps us as a duo have a broader scope of guys we can focus on and talk about.
Yep. So, all right, Matt.
So in play for me, I'm leaning Bailey. Bailey, Styles, Maui Noah, and to be honest, Mansour Delane is on the table for me here. Okay. Those are the guys I'm looking at. I'm leaning Bailey because I need edge rushers, and he is, in my opinion, the best one there. So I take Bailey.
All right.
And then this is one of the real friction points for me. Is Caleb Lomu there?
He should be. Yeah.
I got to be honest, though. Go back. Is Denzel Boston just sitting there?
I believe so.
Denzel Boston, he's what I call a plan wrecker because I had every intention of taking Lomu and finishing up my line. But yeah. Denzel Boston might end up being the best receiver in this class. So thanks for ruining my plan, Denzel. Welcome to the 49ers. If the Niners are going to draft a wide receiver, draft Denzel Boston.
Yeah, and honestly, you might have it's only another 7 picks. You might have a shot at Caleb Lomu still.
Yeah, but I can't get Lomu and Pregnon.
True. All right, so we're taking Denzel?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Denzel. And so now you got Pregnon, and you do have Pregnon and Lomu are sitting there.
So.
And Peter Woods.
Because this is tough for me. And this is the right spot for Woods. I think Pregnon and Lomu would be steals at this point. So I'm conflicted because I know I got Alt. And Alt, because he played left tackle last year, I can choose if he's my left or my right. So if I get Lomu, then I have my left and right tackle figured out. And then I can use the middle of the draft to draft more interior linemen. And I think this is a deep interior class. So I would have preferred Boston to go, but I cannot pass up on Denzel Boston if he falls to me. He's too good. So in this case, I'm going to go Lomu because it's the most important position. And I got a first round grade on Lomu. There's a lot of upside. and I have my bookend tackles, and then I can really like hand jam the interior of my line because I have JPJ. I think Wyatt Milam's going to get a start. So I know I need one more interior guy, and I have to let Pregnon go, and I love him and I hate it. But you cannot pass up on a guaranteed starting tackle.
There we go. All right. And then this is where things get interesting because we have no clue who's going to be available now.
All right. So let me see here. Let me see my edge options.
All right. So, Edge, R. Mason Thomas, your guy, Josh Josephs, Derek Moore, Danny Diz Sutton, Rella Height, LT Overton.
When's my next pick? I'm like 6 picks away, right?
Yes.
So look, I would be happy with either Josephs or Moore. Now X out for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm dying that Skylar Bell's there, and I'm really counting on Skylar Bell to be there at 100. I really am.
Yeah.
So it's breaking my heart. Same thing with Treydon Stukes.
Yeah. Me and Matt had Treydon Stukes way higher than everybody else did before he became. Oh. He was in the 220s when we originally were talking about him. Like, why is nobody talking about him?
Yeah. One of these days, I just want to post our comments, and then like 3 days later, everyone's like, "Oh, Treydon Stukes is the best guy ever." Man, so what I cannot do though at this point is, again, we're talking about like guys I know are going to start. If I did not get Bell, if I did not get Boston, I have to take a long look at Bell. But there's another guy I really love who I think is going to be there even later. But I just can't pass Golday right here. That would be stupid to pass him on Golday, having already gotten an edge and having already gotten a whiteout. So
I'm there's gonna be an edge at your next pick, just depending on which one.
Yep. So I'm gonna take Golday. Who are my edges, or did they all go?
Dennis Sutton is there. Romello Height, LT Overton.
So I'm okay with Dennis Sutton. I haven't warmed up to him the way I did. I was really hoping either Moore or my guy Josephs would be there. I'm a little sad that those two
went to the Seahawks right before.
Yeah, Suns. So look, tonight Dennis Sutton doesn't hurt me. Let me see who else is there. I can't go Tiernan. I got Williams there. That's not crazy.
Grayson Halton, a D tackle.
I've cooled on Grayson Halton. Scroll down one more, buddy. I believe in Zachariah Branch. Take him.
There you go.
Dude, I would like that one. I'd be like, I got wide out.
All right.
So now, what am I looking at? What round am I in? I'm in round 4.
Round 4, beginning round 4.
Now, I will say, like, Barham is not a terrible option. Corleone's not terrible. Scroll down for me just a little slow and steady. Let's go with Barham.
Jason Barham.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you have like 37 4th-round picks coming up.
Yeah, Brian Parker, he's mine.
Yeah,
that's a very easy decision.
That's he's a if Landon Robinson's gone or I took a D tackle earlier, I might take him at 110. Like he is in play for me at 110. Just giving you a heads up because I really do like him, and he's got line versatility too.
I think Slaughter might be there, and you know what? I'm pretty happy. Let's go ahead and so I got a tackle. I got an interior guy. I got some guys coming in I believe in, but I think, and I kind of want to see, just out of curiosity, is Jacoby Lane still there?
Probably. No.
I can live with that because I already got 2 wideouts who I think will be starters. So go ahead and close that out. I will go ahead and take Bo Stevens.
There you go. We're both pretty high on him. When in doubt, draft an Iowa offensive lineman.
Yep. And now, at this moment, I feel like, okay, now I can kind of do whatever I want.
Yeah, you get the next 2 picks. So.
Yeah, let me scroll down. All right, wait. Keep going. Is Katron Allen already gone, or is he like a late round guy?
I believe he's already gone. Oh no, 159.
You know what? Let me see what my near options are. Because it would be a reach, but like everyone's a reach at this point in time. Keep scrolling, and if I don't say stop, take Katron when you see him. Yep,
There he is.
Katron Allen.
Now
go defensive tackle. Take Demonte Capehart. And now go quarterback. So I know Ryan is going to take Cole Payton before I can. So I'm not going to pretend that Ryan's going to let Payton into round 5 when I plan on taking a guy. But I do think Sawyer Robertson is getting slept on. So I'm going to go Sawyer Robertson. I think he's a solid backup quarterback option. So I'll take him.
My dream is off the table. I wanted him to be Burrow's backup because I thought that would be a good long-term backup for him.
Yeah. You're still not crazy with that, though. You put that guy in your practice squad for a year, and then Flacco hangs it up or goes somewhere else.
Yeah, that would be ideal.
So now go interior defense again. And I might, it kind of sucks that Landon is gone. I thought I'd get him there. I still kind of do. Zane Durant in round 6 is way better than Zane Durant in round 3. Let me see what my options are at what do I need? The safety. What do I got there?
Wisniewski, Bishop Fitzgerald, VJ Payne.
I'll take Bishop Fitzgerald.
All right.
All my safeties are like, I might have 2 starting safeties this year. I might not. And then, if you're going to throw Oscar Delp in my face, is Tanner there or is he gone? He's probably gone already.
Cozio?
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably just went.
I'll take Oscar Delp if you're going to throw him at me in round 7. What do I care?
I think that's it. You would actually have one more pick in the draft at least.
But I got to be honest. After round 6, I was like, I don't know. Who do I like?
Yeah. You're just taking like that's where you take whoever. All right. So let's look at your first 6. You've got Bailey, Lomu, Branch, Boston, Golday, Parker.
Yeah, I got 6 starters there, and 3 guys I believe in. Because I think Zachariah Branch is going to be a starting slot for someone. And I have Washington, who there's literally no one else in Miami, so he better be good.
Yeah.
But he's already a solid number 3. I think Zachariah Branch is right now my contender for steal of the class. So I went into this draft thinking like, I'm gonna get my line figured out. And I'm like, well, wide receiver room it is, because that's what happens when you do a draft. But I feel very comfortable that I would have 6 starters out of this class. Now, when does Jay Golday start? When does and I believe in Bo Stevens. When does he start?
It really depends on where they go. Like that's the hard part as a shadow drafter, is we don't decide what team they go to. If Jake Golday goes to the Bengals because he has a top 30 visit scheduled with them and talked to them at the pro day today, if he goes to the Bengals, he's seeing the field a ton in year 1. He's going to be
a green dot by the end of the year if he goes to Cincinnati.
Possible. I know Cincinnati loves their young guys despite everyone else in the league saying that they're not. So I don't think he would take over Green Dot right away. But if you're telling me he could, sure. But he's going to see the field a ton, and that's the tough part about the shadow team stuff for us is like, again, Brian Parker. If a team needs because he could be center, he could be guard, he might even be able to be a swing tackle. But is he going to start depending on what team he goes to?
I see him the same way I saw Wyatt Milam, who I do think, like, Wyatt Milam right now is considered a starter for the Jaguars at right guard, which would really give me some options. But is he really starting for the Jaguars? But what he already is teams this day and age have what they call the sixth offensive lineman. So when they go heavy or whatnot, like Wyatt Milam is already that guy. And so I think that's what Brian Parker's going to be, and then he'll kind of compete his way in there. But that's the pain of it, because I might have some amazing guys. Does Jeremiah Trotter finally get a chance to start?
Yeah.
But you if you don't get those round 1, round 2 guaranteed starters, then can I hold on to the guy long enough for him to get the opportunity I feel he deserves? And that's kind of what's been biting us lately.
Yeah, and I think that's the hard part for anyone that I was on the Draft Professors the other day talking about shadow teams and what they are, the challenges of them, and someone that had not done a shadow team was asking me questions, and like one of the biggest things is like the hardest part about this is we are drafting thinking our mind from team building and our plan for that player, but we don't actually get to decide that. If another team, like let's say Arvell Reese, right? There's the question of, is he an edge? Is he a linebacker? Is he an edge or is he a linebacker? If I draft him to be a linebacker and then they put him at edge, I'm like, crap. Like now, I mean, in my actual team, that wouldn't be an issue right now because we're so early on. But that's something to keep in mind, and it's really, really challenging and tough because we have to forecast out. So really, day 3 guys, all we're really hoping for is a guy that can stay on a roster. If they end up turning into a starter, because we have to fill a full roster at 53. If they end up turning into a starter or a heavy contributor or like a rotational guy, sweet. We got, we found a gem. But yeah. So, all right. Well, that was a fun one. Running backs, not necessarily the deepest. One cool thing I do want to mention about what PFF just recently started. I think, pretty close to finished with my board. I don't think there'll be a ton of massive movement on my board anymore. Matt is starting that final process for him. And PFF now has an option to upload your own big board. So I believe I am going to do that at some point, and I am going to put guys in there like Max Pooley and Cameron Stewart, who are not in their overall board, but they're going to be.
Get your stuff figured out, PFF. Come on, Trevor.
Yeah. So that'll be something to look out for, because we might, I'll see if we can put both of our boards in there and see if we can maybe do this again later on with our own boards. Which would be fun. And then, but then next week we've got tight ends, which is another class that light at the top, but lots of interesting pieces later on. And so we've got tight ends next week. Then we got wide receivers and quarterbacks to finish it up right before our final big boards going into the actual week of the draft. And like I said, the week of the draft, we're going to be live for round 1. I'll be out of Florida for my daughter's cheer competition, but as long as the hotel Wi-Fi doesn't kill me, I'll be on there live with Matt with our reactions and me freaking out when the Bengals do something dumb. But we'll see. Thank you, Ben. Anything you got for Matt?
No, man. Go back and look at the interviews for Maximus and Landon and Cameron, and do us a favor, give them some love, pressure PFF to get those names entered in the board because they deserve it.
Yeah.
And then just a note, like if you could, there are handles. I'm dying to see like official pro day numbers. So if you come across some pro day numbers, go ahead and tag me. Because I'm trying something new on my own in how I conceptualize my board, and I'm really trying to get a handle on whatever athletic data I can. And because I don't get to watch a lot of film, it makes it a little tough. So give us some love on that. Educate us on who you think is out there on Twitter, and I think we'd each appreciate that.
Yeah. And one thing I will say is, like, I'm not saying we should get credit for it, but I've seen more people talk about Cameron Stewart. I just saw a Sports Illustrated story on Max Pooley. Landon went from 300 something and then all the way up into the low 100s. So when we focus on these guys, yeah, we may be early to the party, but people eventually get on board and show up. So I don't necessarily expect to see a ton of interviews with players over the next few weeks because the guys that are in this draft cycle, they're heavily focused on the draft. So but we're definitely gonna try to do that again potentially over the summer. Get some interviews with guys as they plan for next year, and we'll definitely try to keep getting those interviews in because again, that storytelling aspect of it is one of the funnest things for us. And it just gives us another person to root for too, because we're all going to be, me and Matt are going to be jumping out of our seats when Landon gets drafted this year, and if maybe Max, maybe Cameron can end up being there too, but we're going to be their biggest fans, biggest cheerleaders. But thanks for joining us tonight, and we will be back next week to talk about tight ends.